In this video, I'm going to teach you a simple method that you can use to memorize anything. You can use it to memorize lists like a shopping list, a to-do list, or a bunch of ideas for a project. If you're giving a presentation or talk, you'll be able to do that without using any notes. And if you're studying for exams, you can use it to memorize facts for those too. The best part is, it's really easy to do and you can start using it immediately. In my day job, I'm a professional magician. If that's not weird enough, I also entered the World Memory Championships several years ago. Yes, these things actually exist. I often include memory demonstrations with my magic performances, and I use the same techniques to memorize things in my everyday life. In my previous videos, I've taught some techniques on how to memorize things that can seem a little challenging to learn at first. This video will be different. It involves using things you already know in order to remember the things that you want to learn. The technique is called the method of Loci. It's been around for about 2,500 years and was used by the ancient Greeks and the ancient Romans.
What have the Romans ever done for us?
It's sometimes called the Roman room technique. This is exactly the same method that top memory experts use in competitions to memorize lists of words, long digit numbers, and packs of playing cards. I'll start out by teaching you how to remember a bunch of things from a list. Then we'll move on to how to memorize things in sequence, like the key talking points in a presentation. If you stick around to the end of the video, I'll show you how to expand this system so you can use it to memorize tens or even hundreds of different things. Loci is Latin for places, and as the name suggests, the method of Loci involves using places to help us to recall the things that we want to remember. There are a few different versions of this technique, each with slight differences, but the basic principle is the same. You may be familiar with the concept of a memory palace or mind palace.
I need to go to my mind palace.
The what?
If you're not, it's kind of a mental palace that you use with different internal locations in which to store the things that you want to remember. When you want to remember something, you create a mental image of that thing in a specific location. This is actually where the phrases in the first place and in the second place come from. The Roman room works in the same way, except for you use one room rather than an entire palace, and that room can have lots of different locations within it. The best way to do this is to use a room that you are familiar with, so your living room for instance. The locations or loci will be different spots within that room. In your living room it could be your sofa and maybe the coffee table, a plant in the corner, and then the TV. If you can think of 10 different locations or things within your living room, you have got a Roman room ready to memorize 10 different things. Let's say you're going shopping. To memorize the different items on your shopping list, you create a mental image of each of the different things, combining it with a different location within your room. So if you wanted to remember you have to buy bread, you might imagine that your sofa is made out of loaves of bread. If you want to buy some wine, you might imagine a huge glass of wine that's spilled all over your coffee table. To remember that you want to buy bananas, you might imagine that your table lamp has morphed into a giant banana. If these mental images seem a little bit weird, then good. We tend to remember the weird and wonderful, and we forget the boring and mundane. The more bizarre your mental images, the more likely you are to remember them. If you can engage other senses, try to do that too. Don't just see the image, try to feel, smell, taste them. Once you've created a bunch of images combining the items on your shopping list with the locations in your living room, you're done. When you get to the shop, simply mentally go around your living room and find each of the mental images that you've created, and you'll remember what you need to buy. Try it out, you'll be surprised how easy it is. The Roman room method is great, but what if you need to remember things in a particular order? This is where the journey method comes in. It's a slightly different version of the method of Loci, except for the locations always appear in the same order. So it's particularly useful for memorizing things in sequence, like the digits in a phone number, or the main talking points in a presentation or speech. For this, you can use an actual journey, like your journey from home to the office or to the supermarket, or you can use a journey within a location, like the rooms in your house from the front to the back. Once again, This works best if you use a journey or location that you're very familiar with. Let's say you want to memorize a presentation for work and you don't want to rely on notes or cue cards. I'll assume for the purposes of this that you can condense your talk into 10 main talking points. Now you'll need a journey with 10 different stops on it. To memorize your presentation, you're going to take a mental walk along your journey and create an image at each stop or location which represents the next point in your presentation. Maybe the first location on your journey is your front door as you leave the house. And the first talking point in your presentation is to introduce yourself and your background. So as you see a mental image of your front door, imagine a huge portrait of yourself pinned to it. The second talking point in your presentation is an update on the monthly sales figures. The second stop on your journey is the bus stop. Imagine the bus stop and see big bags of cash on the bus stop seat. The third talking point in your presentation is an update on the new company logo. And the third location in your journey to the office is the local corner shop. So imagine the new company logo swinging from a sign outside the corner shop. Really see it swinging in the wind, hear the sound of the sign creaking as the wind blows it. Continue to do that for each talking point and location, and then you've memorized all the points in your presentation. All you have to do is take a mental walk back along the journey and you'll remember the things that you need to say. Of course, you can use this to memorize anything that you want to. If you're interested specifically in memorizing numbers, they're slightly more challenging because numbers are abstract, so they're hard to visualize. If you do want to do this, I'd recommend looking at my previous video on the major system where I look at some techniques on how to do exactly that. So far we've looked at the Roman room and the journey method, and it should be fairly easy to create a room or a journey with 10 different locations to memorize 10 different things. But what if you want to memorize a whole bunch more stuff? Once you've got the hang of creating locations within a room or a journey, it should be fairly easy to combine multiple locations. So if your house or apartment has 8 rooms in it, and you can create 10 different locations in each of those rooms, that's 80 different locations you can use to memorize things. You can combine multiple properties, multiple journeys. Before long, you could have hundreds of different locations that you can use. Turn your house or your work office into a memory palace, which you can use to memorize anything that you want to. I hope you found that useful. Do let me know how you get on in the comments, and if you enjoyed the video, give us a thumbs up. It really helps people to find my videos. And finally, don't forget to subscribe to my channel for videos on how to memorize all sorts of different things. Here are a couple of recent videos that you might enjoy.